Air signs, hello. I am virus out of the big phase of the virus. And what a shock. I thought I was never going to be sick again. But here we are on the other side of it. And we are going to look at the week ahead. Current moon is in Capricorn. So as we get, I guess, more regular with realizing that we're not running out of time. Again, time is just a meeting of all of the agreements we have within ourselves surfacing. New opportunities might be coming through, a second chance at certain things your soul signed up for, and maybe now the belief in yourself that you really can make it there, because there's no real sense of time running out. You have this sense of I can make it, I can achieve this. With marathons, I know people compete against their own time, people compete against the person ahead of them or behind them. We're not doing that. It truly feels like the mission, if you choose to accept, will just be coming to an agreement about what it is that your soul has come here to do. And excuse me, this week, you guys might come to see that you might have to deal with some grief. I would certainly say that I had a major pain body release. Judgment. We are the world. It feels like there's an overarching understanding of anything that you've gone through, any pain that has forced you into a sense of smallness is now going to alleviate itself. There will be people who stand up in your corner. They kind of back you. They make you feel like you're worthy of another chance, another round at what it is that you're here to do. Oh, look, 8 of Cups. Yeah, and Mars going direct. Yeah, today, y'all, with the moon in Capricorn. Mars is stationed direct, giving us now the momentum to achieve based on what we're feeling. So while we're making new decisions, that was what the retrograde happened around. I need to see exactly now. We're diving deep on this one. And Mars has been retrograde for 79 days. And it started its retrograde at 6 degrees Leo. So basically, from what our heart was willing to receive to now, at the start of the retrograde, that happened December 6th during Sagittarius season, what our heart was willing to even receive and entertain, now to deciding that we can actually take steps to not judging ourselves and how long it might take us or how many cups we've had to overturn, how many people who we were looking to love in all the wrong places, seeking to fulfill some story that was also in our soul. Like it was more of a pain body story. Now it feels like the guise has dropped. We can now really articulate what our heart wants. And now we're more receptive to what our heart wants. So maybe for those of us who are chasing dates on a calendar, we can now start to see that each day that we live is a gift, truly. And when we have that kind of a handle on our energy, just being kind of amazed at what we can do. Sirens, use your voice, expansion, freedom. Air, it just feels like you'll have that much more clarity. So the sun being in Pisces is giving air signs a run for their money, but it's also giving us a 10th house transit, 6th house, and 2nd house. So this is more of an earthy transit. So air signs, we're gonna start to see the materialization of what it is that we've been building towards. So you might find that you have a space for your desired event, or you have vendors, or you are a vendor. You have enough materials to take yourself to market. We have transmute, again, wood serpent here. This is going to be the shedding of skin, shedding of layers. If you've had a thick skin or if you've had a thin skin, you might come to see that now you're less reluctant to give yourself a chance to just go for it. Whatever it is, to stick your neck out there and know that you're not going to get guillotined, you're not going to be canceled. In a culture that's so thirsty for validation and cutting people down, you will stand tall because you've been doing a certain level of, I would say, reflecting. And then also with the Mars retrograde happening in our Earth sign energy, same. So second house retrograde, 10th and 6th house. So again, giving the energy of, I would say, the concrete building blocks to what our dreams are and how we come to manifest. We're now having a new surge of energy, a new sense of empowerment, a new willingness to face our feelings. And what I've come to find also, air, as a Libra, air sign, is that I'm now seeking a lot less approval from the outside world before I go to manifest something. So there have been people who I've looked up to, who I felt were mentors, who I would have for, forever and ever. And those people have shown their true colors. There have been a number of people who I've just sort of naturally grown that detachment from, because seeing people's true colors kind of helps you to understand what's valuable, what's meant to keep, and then what you're willing and meant to just sort of let go to the side. And if your paths converge at a later date, great. I sense that the Ankh is giving just that we might have been placing too much of our power outside of us. And now this week we're going to come to reestablish who we are, why we do what we do, and gain that sense of forward movement that we've been wanting. That urgency that we might have been putting onto everything is now going to be something that we can look around us and see, oh, wow, I actually have everything I need, even if it's slow to grow. This is a Earth season transit. So again, it's second house, sixth house, 10th house. And with this current energy of learning to express ourselves authentically. So creative voice is something that you could have as a visualist. You can have a creative voice as a musician, creative voice as a public speaker. It feels like there's been a lot of dutiful study that really you put yourself up to. So congratulations. 9 of Pentacles with the 10 of Cups is just giving that you've done everything. Dotted your I's, crossed your T's a number of times. And this is why Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, we're going to come to have a lot of our manifestations grounded in reality. We're going to come to feel like the grief or the shadows of our emotions that might have been holding us back, they're gone for good. We can actually just look at those things as they arise, and we will continue to have to do so. We're in Earth school, so we're going to have to continue to process the events of our life as they come up. And it feels like we'll just have the tools to more naturally wash away our fears. I'm literally sweeping with my hand like this, sweeping our fears into a nice little trash can and just give thanks for it, but let it go. Gemini, let's get started with you. So today, the moon being in Capricorn, Gemini, this is in your 8th house. And your 8th house is definitely feeling a lot lighter. It feels like you're able to transmute those feelings of the past, seeing that the sun is currently in your 10th house of career and legacy. Saturn does have its placement there. So you guys might have had projects that you were being stalled on, or feeling like you had reached a threshold or a glass ceiling. And look, you got from nothing to everything as the first card, which you see kind of like this etheric pyramid, a wave, and then also just like from the void into this flow of heart. Also, this 7 is definitely giving Pisces. So for my Geminis, just to start, it feels like your career is moving forward this week. It feels like you're going to take a step towards what it is that you wish. So whether that's enrolling in some certificate-based course, starting a program, or graduating from one, congratulations, celebrate yourself. The biggest lesson that I've learned over my time of being a student, which I will always be a student, beginner's mind, right? Is to celebrate the smallest of the small wins. When we are in our own corner backing ourselves up, it makes building a legacy a lot less daunting, a lot less intense, which you guys, of course, with Mars having retrograded in your 2nd house, you could have been dialed into all of the accidents or mistakes or typos that you've ever made and been beating yourself up for it. But now you can kind of slow that down and start to say, okay, everyone around me has done this, from top CEOs to people just starting. And giving yourself grace this week from nothing to everything is going to allow for you to see how much growth you have sustained despite any challenges, or things that you've come through despite the challenges, feeling like you had some impossible tasks. So something, everything. Yeah, it's a big, big card of presence. And honestly, yeah, it feels like you guys are tuning into what growth you've had despite odds, who you've gained in your life despite who you've lost. You're tuning in more solidly into who you've become through this chapter of your life. The past 80 days have shown you that you were maybe too tuned into your flaws. You were too tuned into what you've done wrong, and a big shame body, pain body. It was all one to you. And now you kind of have the ability to distinguish and isolate what troubles you when issues come up. Mary, miracles. Love this. Another 7. So I would definitely say get clear, make a list of all of the things that you're dreaming about, all the things that you would like to happen. Growing up, I was really big on like taking from magazines and making vision boards on my wall. And that led to Pinterest. And I can tell you everything on Pinterest I had manifested. I had manifested everything from a magazine because it's sort of just letting your subconscious have something to default on. So if you dream of having a bunch of cash in your refrigerator that is safe, no one's going to come in and take it, you can have that on your Pinterest board. But really, to me, that would indicate something more of attaining a level of security, financial sovereignty, being able to move about the world as you wish, being able to assign projects that you don't want to finish to other people, making a name for yourself that you're happy about. And this is going to be something that will come in through miraculous forms. There's a level of you needing to get clear on what is a part of the past and what's currently happening now. So big presence energy. If you find yourself getting carried into the past, call upon the law of forgiveness. Literally ask for forgiveness from the person or the situation or the energy. Call upon divine intervention. It feels like letting go of maybe any senses of delusion, or and that delusion being that you can't transform, that you can't do it, that you can't achieve because of the number of times that you failed or missed the boat or didn't make things happen. That's all fading away. And you're coming into a sense of empowered learning, empowered thinking, empowered perception, because you're going to start to see materialization this week. Even if it's something to where it's like you sent out a proof, you get it back and it looks amazing, and you sell one copy. It's something to where you're going to have to be dependable. You're going to have to be patient, and this is going to lead to success. And you might be shy. You might be shy to share your success. You could be in a state of fear that you're bragging. I'm going to plug this in. But usually people who are afraid that they're bragging don't usually question that. They don't actually think that far. People who brag usually know that they're bragging or have a tendency to attract that kind of energy. And our reality is a reflection of usually what we're feeling. So you guys might have come to see that clearly, and you needed someone to just say it like this, that the ways that you're feeling is going to be reflected to you in your reality. So if you're feeling rushed, you'll find more people who make you feel rushed. It's like going to Starbucks and having a full line, or you go to Starbucks and the person ahead of you has paid for your coffee. So if you manifest someone paying for something ahead of you, you'll know that you're in flow with how you feel, that you're taking the extra time for yourself, that you're slowing down. And one great affirmation, Devin Dewar has this, is I trust that I'm in divine flow. And because this is for you a 10th house transit of your career and legacy, you might come to find that forward momentum. So you could have someone who has asked you, like a client, to do a lot of work. And then they surprise you by sharing that, hey, we actually got someone to contract this. We just want you to focus on this. And you will have all of this paid time for all of the energy that you put into your work. Or you could find something to be really successful that you had just assumed, oh, okay, it didn't get so many views, likes, subscriptions. I didn't sell out in the first week. But you might come to see that something that it just needed time in the collective consciousness to generate wings and fly, has now gained that momentum. Miguel Etter, listen to elder wisdom. So to get Mary Magdalene from the Goddess Oracle deck and then Miguel Etter, listen to elder wisdom. This is because you guys are having a 10th house transit, your opposite gender parents. So if you're a female, this is your father. If you're a male, this is your mother. They might have some wisdom that they bestowed upon you, even if it was how to not do something. And now is an important time to journal that out. But you also could have some people who, because this is a career and legacy transit for you, someone who's living the way you want. And right now, we have everyone at our fingertips. You can watch an interview of nearly anyone online. And if you have someone who is like, you wish you could live their life, their goals, now's the time to watch something that they've made. If you want to know more about Tim Burton, you can watch his making of Nightmare Before Christmas. Or, if Mary Magdalene is one of your goals to be like, you can read any of her books. You could look to my friend who she channels Mary Magdalene, Krista Marie Miller on YouTube. There are plenty of people who are providing intel and sources, but I also have the feeling, Gemini, that you guys might just be now tapping into the information you get when you sit with yourself. Let's see. The intel you get when you sit with yourself, because it feels like you can even work with your higher self. Elder wisdom could just be your higher self. And you could just have to sit with your higher self. Maybe you have your own cards at home. Pull a card and journal. Okay, yeah, we got the crone. Boom. And we have the cave. So for my people who are willing to try, you can sit in meditation and give yourself 5 minutes. You can have your timer going and just ask for some wisdom to come through. And honestly, creating the space for the wisdom and receiving the wisdom are two separate parts of the process. Because you make the space, it could come through when you're cooking dinner later in the evening, or when you are first awoken from dreams in the morning time of who to contact, who to reach out to. If it's someone who you know locally, cool. But if not, it can be someone who you just watch a documentary on or watch an interview and get their perspective and what they're doing that motivates you and inspires you to take a chance to release, I guess, the grip on which you've known or the agreements that you've made. Because it feels like as we're transmuting some of this limitation or perceived limitations on our happiness, because that's what this red line at the top represents, is just feeling like the pinnacle of success is having material goods. Excuse me. You guys might come to see that you do require emotional fulfillment that will come from studying. It will come from the process, not the outcome. Excuse me. When we can focus our energy on the process, it teaches us. So this is that beginner's mind concept again. It teaches us how to tune into being a scholar, being willing to learn, and to have that elder wisdom shared with us. So I'm going to read the Goddess Oracle cards. These actually have the most guidance. And it could be something so silly as like you want to trust people to have everything figured out, but you know that they don't. There's something intuitively telling you that they haven't figured everything out. And if you have that intuitive urge to say, hey, did you look at this? I just want to clarify the contract or the terms and conditions. This could be something that is a very wise move that you've set aside 5 minutes for, no answer came through, but then you're prompted intuitively to say something like two days later or a week later, likely during this week, the 24th through the 3rd, because this is the week where the sun is moving through the 1st to 2nd decan of Pisces. So we're going from our inside world with how we manage ourselves in our career to how we speak to our peers, our colleagues, our employer. And the employer could end up giving you a bonus because you've said something that's going to save the money down the line or help to clarify your role. But you do have forward movement in your career. You could get a good booking this week because of something that you say in a separate, altogether field that just draws people to you because of the integrity that it took for you to stand up and be like, hey, I have this elder wisdom, this higher self, this part of me that um, gives great guidance, right? Mary, miracles. Have you stopped believing in miracles, Gemini? Do you think that they are only for others or doubted their existence? Could it be you've been reading and watching the news often and finding yourself feeling powerless and despondent? Or has the dry spell of your life gone on so long that you've stopped looking for water? Hmm. I love that. Interesting, because you got the Ten of Cups as well as the Eight of Cups in your reading. So this is, I think, having the capacity to take action based on what you're feeling. So this is going to be something that comes into alignment. Have no fear, for Mary has a message for you. This is all about your mindset. This moment is an opportunity to turn things around, and it begins with your thinking. What if you remember that your repeated thoughts, feelings, and belief call the world into form? What if you recommitted to your co-creative partnership with the divine, and from there chose another way to experience your life? You have the power of Mary, the mother of miracles, running through your veins. She did not need the seed of man from outside of her to give birth to a miracle. In the same way, you don't need your outer world to change first. And this has been my biggest lesson coming to understand astrology and how it works, is that astrology can only point us to the outside. The inside is up to us. So no astrologer can give you the answers that you're looking for. Those are all going to come from how you interpret the external events that are occurring in your life and world, Gemini. You have the power of Mary, the mother of miracles, running through your veins. She did not need this. Okay, we already read that. You are the one you've been waiting for. You only need to choose how you will respond to your current reality and focus on a day at a time in service to the miracle of life. What is for you has its own divine timetable. Your alignment task is to remember that. So that brings up that affirmation of, I trust I'm in divine flow. Trusting we're in divine flow will bring it to us. Trusting that we're in divine flow will slow the speed of events to where we have the, I would even say, the wisdom to follow our intuition, to follow our intuitive nudges, to follow what we believe and what we're feeling and picking up on. Okay, Libra. Rose Oracle shouted out. So this week for us, Libra, we are having a 6th house transit. So our day-to-day life is definitely going to be hugely supported by the spiritual. With this being the case, all of the houses that oppose each other support each other. So Libra, as you fine-tune your day-to-day life experience, you're going to come to find that your spiritual experience does a call and respond type of thing. So you might have felt like cornered into a schedule of some kind. Excuse me. As I'm getting over a virus, you guys might have felt similar things, Libra. You might have felt like your day-to-day schedule was halted or broken up, like you had a perfect schedule running and then something took you off your axis and forced you to slow it down. So as we approach this new moon happening this week, and the eclipse season, it feels like there will be certain things that we're cutting out of our day-to-day life, but in a way that we didn't think twice about them. It's something that we've just grown accustomed to. So, you could have grown accustomed, Libra, to checking your social media first thing every day, which can now be replaced with a better habit. Trust the seasons, embracing change, cycles of life, transformation, transition, and growth. It just feels like the cycles that you've been through that have forced you to grow and forced you into larger leaps of faith with your creativity, or to take distance from things that stifle it, like the comparison of social media, kind of forcing people into a typecast, or the algorithm feeling really defeating kind of thing. I just asked ChatGPT a question in the voice of Saint Germain, and it was interesting. Like, the answer came up to where it said, it's not necessarily the actions you take, but how you take the actions. And because of this Mars retrograde with Mars stationing direct today, it just feels like the ways that we take certain actions have now matured quite a bit. And for a day-to-day life, if we've been doing anything kind of driven by impulse, we're now entering a new season of our life. We're entering a new season of our personal and spiritual and emotional growth. And because this is a water sign and we're having a sixth house transit, our emotions around our day-to-day life are going to change. So we might come to say that we have a sense of boundaries around our day-to-day life, something that maybe used to take us like 10 to 15 hours in a week. We're now able to condense it into the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week. We now can automate certain activities with the help of AI, with the help of a Pisces Libra. If you have a Pisces in your life, this week they might help you to shortcut something that you've been doing with a lot of intensity, with a lot of maybe burnout even. All right, let's get a card from King Crayons. Woo! Yeah, there was a dead end. And it feels like there was something that was really burning you out, but there's also something that is coming through the other side of that. You see how the dead end came up first. And now there's this hand that's reaching for the nectar. And maybe you felt like you had reached a dead end, or like you couldn't make ends meet. You couldn't live your creative passion. You couldn't face the urgency of what is happening around you, or again, that issue of feeling like time is running out. I'm going to read this one. The dead end and the nectar. Okay, yeah, it's just, I feel like big cycle energy. Trust the seasons with the dead end is just saying that a way that you've lived your day-to-day life, maybe just serving others, like being at the beck and call of other people and what they need, like the second someone would ask you for something, you would rush to get it done. Now you're starting to, just gracefully, you're adding more grace into your flow, into your rhythm, into your momentum. It doesn't even feel like you were happy doing that. Like it was an impulse, a need to be accepted, to be loved, to not be kicked out of the circle, and just having again this ability to say, okay, what I was doing was not emotionally fulfilling. I have to transmute this energy. I have been studying this, that, and the other. So, for instance, you might have been studying how to motivate yourself to get those 10,000 steps in a day, and you kept finding yourself shortcutted because you had to take care of your neighbor's dog. Now it's like you're putting the pieces together. You're taking your neighbor's dog for the first walk of the day, 2,000 steps you get in easy. And then the next few hours of your day, you're able to just be on the treadmill, or you're able to take lunch on the beach or something and go for a long walk. And it feels like there is a simplicity in this new season of your life. There is a simplicity in how it's all kind of harmonizing, because there is the North Node conjuncting Neptune at the end of this week. So it's really time to see what in your day-to-day life is fueling you, is giving you nectar, is constantly returning, where you have felt kind of like, okay, I don't know if I'm getting out of this what I want, sort of like that rush to please others. And now we're starting to really emphasize, especially because Black Moon Lilith has come through most of our sign, Libra. At the end of this week, Black Moon Lilith will be at, she's moving slow. So she'll still be in our sign, but now Black Moon Lilith is in the third decan. So it's just sort of like the automation, the natural hum of life and how we're doing things. We're now having a sense of independence. So yes, someone can still ask you, hey, Libra, I need you to go get donuts or lunch for the team. Now you know to just put in the order with Grubhub. You know to just not have to go and stand in lines and wait yourself and save the company $15, because your time is worth so much more than that. And because you just sort of expect it, that's how it's going to be supported. That's how it's going to be supplied to you. So the nectar, this card that is on the other side of the dead end. It's like you were just reaching for through the void, hoping for something to come through. Like you might have been tossing and turning in bed most nights because you didn't know how to break the news to people that you couldn't keep working your job. But really, the truth is, you just need to ask for a little bit more support. The nectar card calls us to identify and relish places, practices, people, and activities that regenerate and heal. So there, it could have been just as simple as Libra. You needed more support. You needed an extra bonus, or you needed some level of truth, maybe communicating your truth. We have Mercury cruising through Pisces right now. And let's see where she is today. Mercury is at 19 degrees Pisces in orb to Saturn at 20 degrees. So there's a level of being able to communicate our responsibilities. So if you have to write a well thought out letter, maybe of resignation, maybe you're moving on, maybe you already have another job in place, which is what I do have to advise, going many times in my life without certainty of where the next check was going to come from. I have to say, support yourself by having your next steps figured out and not by leaf falling. Even if you have money saved up, make sure that there's at least something that can provide you meaning, even if it's you giving meaning to yourself and doing things like sharing your journey online. There's a way to gain a lot of momentum just by living in our truth right now, especially during a 6th house transit. And also, one of my friends, Purple Palace on YouTube, she said that the universe doesn't respond to your wishes, respond to your vibration or your actions, which really it's about how receptive we are and how much we're able to take action. So look at that. We've got the Sun card. So where your heart feels welcome, just as you are, this is the nectar. This is going to allow for you to start to voice more of who you are, to share more authentically. And this is a new season of your life that, just as we're entering spring here soon, and we have the eclipse season helping us to cut off things that, cut off things that limit us or put us on, put us into a corner, put us into a tight spot to where we constantly feel like we're striving for someone else's go ahead. We can't ask if we can go to the bathroom anymore, Libra. We can't. We already had to do that in elementary school, and that was just a little bit too demeaning, right? We need to be able to have freedom and autonomy. So for this next season in your life, whatever has limited you will have to either have more distance. You're going to need to ask for autonomy. So if you're not writing a letter of resignation, you can write a letter of, these are my expectations for this role, and or just start living them. You know, one thing I noticed, I'm getting a concrete flashback to something I did in my life. Yeah, you're grounded in what you have to say. What you have to say is very valid. I just remember certain people never being available. They were never available for calls. And eventually those people quit or they left the company. But it was always the people who were always available, who were underlooked or underutilized. So make sure that when you go about your day-to-day life, you know your value, you know your worth, and you could slow down. There's no rush to get people the coffee while it's piping hot. There's no rush to be the first one through the door. You can do something like send an email to someone who can help you to communicate. Again, a Pisces is really going to come through for you this week, Libra. But have someone help you to stand taller in what you need and be grounded so that you're not looking paycheck to paycheck and confused and utterly sure that you can't continue doing life in the ways that you may do it, in the ways that you might be expected to do it even. Some of us could work for our parents, and our parents are playing those power games that they always have played over us. And it's time for us to really realize that we have power in these situations, that it's not up to just them to hold power over us and exert that power, because truly it takes two to tango. So when we're not available for certain interactions, they just don't happen. They don't play out in the same ways. Okay, Aquarius. Hey, Aquas. So you guys have Pluto in your sign. Lots of energy happening in your second house of perception. So you could pick up on different things that you hadn't really noticed before, especially now that Mercury is sweeping through the sign in orb to Saturn. It feels like you guys might learn a new level of communicating your devotion or your commitment to what it is that you see in your reality in your life. Nitya Kali. So this is the Sri Yantra. It's supposed to be very beneficial to work with. And this is just giving me Venus. Venus is due retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde from your third to your second house and then back, helping you to really, I would say, more align with people who are on the same page of you, like as far as your soul is concerned, people who won't take advantage of you. So there might have been a level of being willing to kind of tolerate people because they show up, they provide, they do what they say they're going to do, but you just don't like their vibe. You just don't like something about them. Like they seem to want something from you, even though they claim not to. And it's going to feel like you have the divine flow of abundance on your side. I'm going to read this card just to check my work. But yeah, it could be that there are people who don't ask anything of you, and these people might in the coming years become more present in your life, just because now you're moving in a place where it's like you couldn't see before. You were too close to something, and now you're able to, oh, look at that. Sacred introversion, turning within. Allow that which needs to end to do so. You shall realize you're not being denied, but released. There's something new on the horizon. Honor your losses and keep trust in your heart for what's meant to be. Yeah. So there could be someone who maybe this week they weren't ever like this, but they start getting pushy or they start getting transactional. Yeah. Intuitively, you'll know who it is. They're gonna make themselves clear. I love that we have cycles. So the moon moving from Capricorn to Pisces with this new moon, maybe even into Aries. Let's see. It's just going to be highlighting the themes of this Mercury and Mars retrograde. Yep. The moon will move into your fourth house even. Nope. By Monday, March 3rd, it'll be in Aries, just crossing over Chiron. And honestly, when the moon crosses over Chiron, you might have someone who makes it clear that they were like keeping score, like they were, and you're just shocked. You're like, what? I thought that we were mutual friends. Like I thought that we had so much in common. I thought you didn't want anything from me. And it's okay because you're being called to go within. You're being called to rewire your perceptions from the inside out. And this is going to be something that actually makes you feel really secure in the people coming into your life and the friendships that were meant to go far. Also, just thinking through the Venus retrograde happening in your second house and third house, there might be a lot of items that you've collected that you decide, hey, I could sell these now. I can customize these. I can make a profit from this. And this can help me to do more of the things that I wish to do in my life. The star. Aquarius, what if you an Aquarius reading? If we didn't get the star, it's like you guys honor mosquito. Hold on. Guys, I'm a mosquito hunter in my house. And that one's very feisty, so I might turn off the volume and have to smack it. But it feels like you guys, I love that you got the star after the moon. Sun moving through your second house, Venus and Mercury retrograde. I think you're just getting things clarified. Like now you'll know, and you won't be able to really unsee what's happening. Again, someone might have been keeping score or waiting for you to extend for them an invitation of some kind that you had no intention of extending. And due to this, you have to take a pivot. You have to have an about face. You have to let yourself move on from the situation. And it's going to be okay because there's better, and you have to trust in that. There is better coming for you. Holding the seeds, fertility. So here's the famous pomegranate and understanding that even though some seeds lie dormant, you can always sprout them. They can always germinate. And maybe you had been putting off something until you had reached a certain level of income or subscriptions, or you were just waiting for a sign of some kind. And it feels like you're going to get your mind around how to take the next step, especially if you have someone fall out of your life who you really did think was going to be there to hold your hand through the challenges or the experiences of life. But you're also going to come to be stronger and have more self-belief because you're intuitively picking up on why people would even want to do certain things that you never suspected them of, or drama, but people who had ulterior motives, essentially. And now you're getting clear on the root of it and pinpointing the moment where you kind of had a feeling, you had a suspicion, but you kind of let it simmer down. You were like, they're just being them. They're having an off day. Whatever that is, you're going to come to see that it's up to you to say yes or no to that, to agree to it or not, to allow for certain things to happen in your reality. And once you feel empowered to say no, just flat out no to certain things, and defining that edge, defining your limits, you can have limitlessness in the other areas that you need that limitedlessness in. Okay. And I do need to read that card. I do. The time is ripe and the ground is fertile for your project. Whether it's creating or designing a new life or starting a new venture, the time is now. And then I need to read Nichikali. Put it together without reading it to you guys. Yeah, like you could have just been wanting to like set someone up to help you for publishing a book or publishing a piece of work, and like they let you know that they want and expect for this to happen. Like you have to send them a signed copy of the first printed book, and you're like, I always save that. I can't do that. But because you have that defined boundary, you're not going to allow for someone to start just sort of like deboing you and saying, I don't just need the first signed copy. I need 5. I need 10, and then down the line, you're like, whoa, hold off. So Nishikali calls us away from the world to journey inward sacred introversion. I think we already read this, but let's see. If you feel your hands are tied and you are unable to exert your will in the world at this time, do not fret. Often before a time of significant fruition, which, we're holding the seeds to fertility, there's a period where nothing much seems to be happening. You are attending to your inner work and strengthening your vision and intention, which is absolutely this moon and the star card that you got. Where is the evidence and the result of your hard work? Well, because we are in a second house transit, it feels like, excuse me, Venus retrograding and Mercury retrograding it's going to change what you were going for. It's going to change what your initial vision was and make it into something really, really big and something that's really a lot more true to your initial vision. Let go of force, but do not give into any despair or feeling of defeat. Any cycle of holding back or lack of external support for your inner work will end, followed by a new era of divinely mandated manifestation. This is just providing some encouragement, Aquarius, especially if people who you felt like you could rely on start to pull away or start to get a little demanding and they have no reason to do so. You haven't given them a reason, and they haven't given you one to start sharing more of yourself. Okay. And the final outcome card for Aquarius. Message. So be mindful of messages that you might feel inspired to watch like a movie or listen to a song. It could prompt you to do a whole investigative train of like, where is this artist from? What events are happening in this place? How much does it cost to get there? Kind of thing. And you will come through that maybe with answers and direction, or just a sense of place, a sense of more purpose in your work. I had an initial person in my life tell me to use like grommeting for my paintings. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Why would I want to make holes in my work? But then once I saw the reason why they gave me that motivation, why they directed me to do that, it's like, oh, not Ken Honeyman, but Kerry James Marshall, he uses those. But seeing it for myself, having that core of experience, it's like this person who's leading your life, they could have been sort of like portraying being all knowing or more skilled in some way, shape, or form. And you've come to see that you've developed your own skills in the time that you've been in contact. Something along those lines. Okay, Air. For this earthy season, you're going to get a final outcome card from the Work Your Light Oracle deck. Yeah, anyone who claims to know us better than we know ourselves, you could just silence this week by going within, by having some internal. God, I hate this card. We're getting rid of that card from the deck. It doesn't make any sense. Share your voice. Come out of the cave. For any lifetime you've been persecuted. Oh no. Come out of the cave. It's time to express yourself. This is a double message because we got Siren, we got Judgment. So maybe you've been a little bit too hard on yourself for your emotions, and that's what this Cancer retrograde was sharing with us. It's another watery energy. Is to not fear what you are feeling. When we are able to rely on our feelings and trust our feelings, that's when they start to benefit us and the world around us, because we're showing a sense of self-reliance and self-support that is really important for creating this new earth, this new reality that the kids coming in around 2027, that's when the raver kids, yes, ravers, they're coming in, and they're going to be very high vibration. Gosh, what's this guy's name? I'm blanking on it now, but he said that meat will essentially be like poison to them because they're going to feel everything from the moment the animal died to like it being hunted, or industrial farm complex industry. And the more work that we do now to start feeling our feelings is going to help bring those kids in. We might end up being the mentor and the elder with the wisdom for these children because of what we've experienced so far in our time on Earth. So, air signs, thank you guys for tuning in. 1 minute summaries of these will be on TikTok. As well, you can join me on Telegram Messenger, where I do a somewhat regularly. I'm chilling with the moon out there. It's for my womb people who have womb space and you want to track your moon cycle. You want to track your period and know what you're bleeding, what your system is letting go of. It's actually really interesting to see where you have your moon cycle, what signs it falls under, and where the moon is. That and more. See you guys next time. Aloha.